cool. Well, thanks for making some time to connect with us. I really appreciate you spending some of your Friday afternoon with us here. I'm
Yeah.
I'm big data nerd and loving what we're doing with Shop Controller here. And William's been an amazing host and friend to help us get connected with some really great people in the industry.
Yeah.
So I'm excited just to get to know you a little bit. And we'll kind of keep this a
Cool.
little casual and just kind of get rapid fire questions and
Okay.
we'll see where it takes us.
All right.
I
Well,
definitely
hang on.
want to.
Let me unbutton here. You said casual. There we go.
There you go. There you go.
We're gonna put the sleeves on you, man.
Yeah. I
might,
didn't. I
might
didn't
as
bring
well
the
go
suit
short
down
sleeve.
here. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't have any
No.
sleeves either.
I don't wear ties anymore because they're too close to a noose. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So, how long you been in the coaching world of automotive owners in the shops?
Well, I stayed in a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I don't know, what, 2 days? No.
That's right.
See,
Perfect.
nobody gets that anymore, right? That's so old, that commercial is. No, I've been sorry. I've been coaching now, going on almost 6 years.
6 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. How did you get into it? So, I mean, obviously, you've been successful with your shops because you got two now, right? Is that correct? Two shops or
No,
one shop?
no, I have one. Yeah,
Okay.
I have one. So I have my story is a little different than your average interviewee. So
Okay.
and I can unpack that for you. So I got started in the coaching industry. I was approached by I'm going to call it an industry guru who needed help coaching shops, the service advisors, shop owners, technicians, and so he blessed me with the opportunity to start doing that, and have launched out on my own, and loving every minute of it.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, how did you get into the coaching initially? Was it through the guru and said, "Hey, we needed some help,"
Yep.
and
So
started just getting after
I
helping some students?
by nature I'm a teacher. I love to teach. I was a licensed pastor for a number of years as well, and so I love to, I don't know, preach the garage gospel. That's what I call it. And so
Like
it's
it.
just in me. And I've worked with people previously, unofficially, and no, once the doors were open for me, it's been just wide open.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate you sharing that. So, how did
Mhm.
you first get into the business? What did that look like? When, way back when you
Back
started
in
with that first shop, what did
early
the,
1990 something, yeah, right.
wow, that's been that long.
So it's been a while, yeah, the early 90s. So here's my story, and because like I said, I'm not your classic shop owner. In fact, you ready for this, guys? Been a shop owner for 15 days.
Oh, okay.
See, I told you my story is different. So
Yeah.
I started back in the 90s. I had a very good friend of mine personally who was a district manager for a huge franchise. We'll keep it neutral. And he says, "Hey, I need somebody to come be a technician. Can you wrench?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course I can wrench. I'd never wrenched before professionally." And so he hired me. And within about 6 months, he said, "You should probably also wrench and run my shop, or one of
Mm,
my shops." And so I had the opportunity to run four of his shops within that franchise, and also be a working manager. That was their model. And so I was a tech, and I managed, and I just service advice and all things. And I've also worked at did about 5 years at a dealership, and so it's kind of like that's 5 years of my life I'll never get back. It's almost as good as prison time, I hear. Not a huge fan of dealerships. It is what it is. And then the last out of 10, 15 years, I've had the opportunity to run shops for amazing owners who like to say, "Here's the keys, drive it like you stole it." I mean, run it like you own it. And so I've had the opportunity to be trained. I have been through many of the name brand training programs and companies that we know of in our industry as a student, flown all over the country. It sat through a week here, a week there, and I learned a lot, and have grown. And I got to the point where I could teach others not only what I had been taught, but what I had learned. And so those last couple of shops we ran very, very profitably. And in fact, one of them actually sold out to private equity not too long ago. And so here I am coaching, and I coach full time, not running a shop. fact, I've not actually been in a shop since COVID hit. I handed the keys back and said, "You can't afford me. I'm the most expensive princess in the castle," and just went to coaching.
Okay.
And I've actually never owned a shop, and I've always run them.
Okay.
So starting earlier this year, I've actually been trying to buy a shop for the last 6 months or so, and so we finally found one that worked, and we closed the deal at the end of May, and so now I am a shop owner, which doesn't feel any different, and still a coach.
Nice.
So there you go. So there's my weird story, kind of like Benjamin Button, kind
Okay.
of going backwards. Yeah,
I like it.
most coaches you'll find in this industry are guys that have they've owned shops for 30 years and they're bitter and jaded and grumpy and now they're going to coach and tell people what to do, and they're all great guys, by the way. I just did it backwards. So now I'm just going to work on getting bitter, jaded, and grumpy, and then I'll have it all figured out.
Yeah. As you're
Well,
reversing
first
your
of all,
aging.
congratulations on the shop. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
I guess if you think about it, going back to the 90s when you first got asked to come run a shop and you got to see the shops and how they were run and all that, what is the biggest difference today between what was going on back then, what you've learned, and what you can apply to owning your first shop today? So obviously you've had a lot of time to see shops and talk to shop owners and learn about it. So kind of what is the one or two things that you learned maybe in the 90s that you might apply better today, or you might do completely different today now that you own a shop?
Well, the stark raving difference between the 90s and now the 2020s. Do we say that now? Is that a thing we say? Good God, I feel old. Less paper cuts would be number one. You guys remember looking up parts in the 90s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
remember
catalog,
that?
man. Yep.
You need a quote. You dial the 1-800 whoever your favorite supplier is and say, "I need you to fax me over a quote," and you'd unroll the paper as it came off this fax machine. Yeah, that was for reals. How about selling with bedtime stories? That's something that's different. We don't do that anymore. Mr. Customer, hi, I'm going to call and tell you about the things on your car you don't know about and describe them to the best of my ability, and Goldilocks and the three bears and your brakes, and did you want to spend some money? We don't do that anymore. We've got digital vehicle inspections that will open up the transparency in this industry like none other. So those are some of the, I guess, key differences I see. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, makes sense.
I love it. Well, since you've kind of done this in the reverse, you still had to go through the diligence of starting your first shop. Now, you've kind of gone into this with all kinds of wisdom and knowledge and experience, but a lot of our listeners start with that wrench, back to like how you were in the 90s, but then actually decided, I'm going to take that wrench and I'm going to bring on some debt. And I'm going to, basically invest in probably one of the most expensive purchases of their life, and that is that first shop. So now that you've just closed on this 15 days ago, maybe share some wisdom with some of those folks that are looking to buy that first shop of, what you were able to bring into that experience that, they can learn from to make it a little easier for them.
So all of that knowledge, we don't have time for that today, but all of that knowledge I've acquired over the last few decades and just compiled here, and actually kind of a geeky spreadsheet kind of guy, compiled there as well. And it is daunting. I've got about 120 line items that you have to do, whether buying real estate or FF&E or how acquiring technicians or setting up a point of sale system, all the things that you have to do and have your ducks in a row. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I want to establish what I call proof of concept. So again, I don't think we should do anything in life alone. We were created for community. We were created to really be a part of each other's lives and help one another. And as a coach, consultant, trainer for the industry, I am boots on the ground in the year 2024 purchasing a shop. I'm navigating that, as well as working with others who are on that journey. And so as I flesh that out, I'm able to give you live, real time, what your options are and what you need to do. And it's important for those of you who may be looking to acquire a shop to understand that it's not just as simple as hanging a shingle outside of a building that has a garage door on it. That's the easiest part.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot there. And so I would encourage, seek counsel, seek wisdom, seek guidance. And my hope is, again, I'm adding to the repertoire of what I can coach and train and consult on, is seek somebody that has done this and not done it in 1982, because that world is not the same anymore. Or I got my shop from my daddy, which that's really cool, man. My dad didn't have one to give to me. So find someone that's walking your journey and link up with them, come alongside them. And I think that's going to be a huge takeaway for somebody today.
Yeah, no, that really makes a lot of sense. Most people that are going into it feel like, hey, I got to go find some real estate. I got to make sure I put a P&L together and a business plan. You know, I got to have a mission. But I think one of those critical steps is like, hey, find a mentor or find somebody that's kind of already walked down that path. And I find it really interesting that you're walking down this path after coaching and going through that. And so when you put together this list of 120 line items on Excel, what were some of the main sections of that spreadsheet?
I mean,
and of course, everybody's going to want to know. You're going to be able to share that, right? At some point in time, if they ping you.
For a modest fee, I'm sure I can.
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million. I mean, I'll just grab some of the highlights. Register your business, your shop with the IRS, grab an EIN. You're also going to need to have a property holdings company. That's right. You have to have 2 companies also registered with an EIN, registered with your state, registered with your city, business licenses. How about a resale permit? Did anyone think of doing? Nope. We should probably get a resale permit as well. Tax exemption might be separate in your state. Setting up, I don't know. How about filling out what we call an ST 101, right? So there's a form for that. Website, SEO, CRM, point of sale system. It just keeps going. Who's going to do your uniforms? Suppliers. Where will you have your operating capital? Where will it come from? Where will it go? Who's going to manage that? I mean, literally, it could just go on and on. It's been an adventure, and my list is still not all checked off.
Yeah. Any major ahas that you did it, right? So a lot of these people are kind of succeeding through some of their mini failures. But since you've kind of seen this happen before and you were able to be very, prepared, I'm sure there was still some gotchas in there that's like, I added line item 117, 118, and 119, because, hey, even I missed it. Maybe what are some of those?
Well, I don't know that. Well, hopefully I haven't missed anything. I don't think I've missed anything, but the one of the things that I've done that I would not encourage. In fact, I've had the opportunity over the years to work with many shop owners who are acquiring shops, maybe second, third locations, going to go multi-store. And there is a temptation to purchase an existing building with equipment and no business. And I've always said, for the love of God, don't buy a dead shop. Why would you do that? That is the hardest thing, to resurrect a dead shop. So what I did is I bought a dead shop.
Okay.
Because
you wanted a challenge.
I'm an idiot. No, and it's not only is it a dead shop, but the bay to parking spot ratio is not even cool. It's not great at all. But again, proof of concept and challenge. So I've got, as an example, I've got a client of mine that has a very, very successful shop, and I've been with him for a number of years and watched him navigate firing this thing up from the ground up. And he bought a shop in a particular city that is downtown and has 0 parking spots. He crushes it. Absolutely crushes it. So it can be done. And so that's what I want to put together. I want to put together an experience that I can say, this is how that works. And this is what I've done. So I did buy a dead shop. It's been, not quite vacant. It's got an interesting story. But pretty much dead for the last 3 years. And so when you request P&Ls and all they send you is L's because there's no P. And there hasn't been P for a long time.
Yeah, hasn't been any P. No P for a while. So I've been calling on shops in different formats and various reasons for the last 20, 25 years. And, one of the things that I've always noticed that a lot of shop owners struggle with is kind of first impressions, right? Like not really understanding the customer experience, and the customer experience starts the first time they call you, the first time they go to the website, or the first time they pull into your parking lot. So what do you tell the shop owners that maybe you go coach, that when you walk into their shop, and I don't want to offend any shop owners, but it looks like it's a place that cars go and die instead of a place that cars go and get fixed. How do you try to change that mindset and get them to understand that you don't want the people that, wanting to drop their car off and never come pick it up, and how to get rid of cars and those kind of things? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
I think so, and I'll try and respond to the best of my ability. So as a coach, I teach what I call a customer centric approach to sales, and we focus 100% on the customer's experience. And we have a servant's heart and a give first mentality, and we do all of that with a spirit of excellence. And so what that means is when I walk into your shop and you're standing behind your counter and I look around and I see magazines from 1983 and there's a layer of dust and cigarette ash everywhere, and the guys look literally like maybe they have been just recently released from incarceration, and you're behind your counter and you're like, yeah, what do you need? Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. Now, I had the opportunity in the town that I live in to go and secret shop every shop in town that had some semblance of a web reputation.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to say that, or one form of that is what I saw in almost every single shop. I've been here for 30 years. I've got 30 years worth of crap. I don't care what you think. I've got posters all over the wall or notices about I don't take credit cards and no customer parts and this, that, and the other, and no parking here. And it's a very foreboding and a negative experience when I pull into your lot. And no restaurant stays open that looks like that. No donut shop that looks like that stays open like that. Really, no reputable business stays open that looks like that, and you're definitely not profitable. So do we have to have a Taj Mahal shop? And I've got a number of shop owner friends that have Taj Mahals. God bless, they're gorgeous. You can if you want. Does it have to be that? No, it doesn't have to be that. But I believe that your shop needs to be warm and inviting, and decor is to the best of your ability. I'll be honest with you, opinion alert. You're not going to come into my shop and see any sort of car stuff when you walk into the front area, the front counter, and the reception area and the waiting room. There's zero car stuff, none other than our ASC logo up on the wall to the side, because my average consumer doesn't care about your NASCAR collection that you have behind you. They don't care that this shop uses Snap-on tools. Don't dare touch them. Like, really? You have that sign behind your counter? No, they don't care. They don't want to see your tchotchkes and your broken belts and all the parts and pieces you have laying everywhere. They want to know that they're coming to an area that you're going to treat their car the way that you treat your front room.
Yeah. Yeah, we really believe in that hospitality approach and making sure that atmosphere and the culture that you bring, not only for the customers coming in, but to your employees, kind of carry that same attitude and respect for the business that's coming in. So I think that's another big pillar as you start your first shop. You talked about the checklist and all the diligence that you did to be able to create that experience, and I love all the research that you did to all of the neighboring shops. I mean, how cool is that? Know your competition, know how you're going to be differentiated, know what they're known for, and make sure that you can stand yourself apart from those guys. You don't have to have that Taj Mahal, but maybe just some areas where you're going to surpass expectations of customers looking at like-minded shops. Maybe tell us about the people. We believe business is all about the people. I love the customer-centric approach. How do you empower the individuals on your team to recruit them? I'm sure those are a lot of the things that you talk about in your coaching program as well, and now you actually get to go implement yourself.
Yeah. So I've been a part of the hiring and firing process in most of the shops I've run for years and years. So that when you empower your manager to be a part of that, and in fact, even hire and fire, and you have nothing to say about it, that's huge. That's huge. But I can tell you in my shop, we hire first and foremost for culture, attitude, who you are off the clock. That's who I'm hiring. and all the way down to, and there's only so much personal information that you can scrap up from, say, social media, but who you are outside of the business matters more to me than your certifications. Now, yes, you have to be able to diagnose and repair cars effectively, but I can teach skill. I can't teach attitude. I can't teach that culture. And as a coach, when I come into the shops and work with them, one of the biggest detriments that we have in this industry is the cancerous tumors that we leave in our shops and we're afraid to remove because of reasons. And the reason list is very, very long. And
very long.
It just destroys a shop. And I've seen it. And again, I take that as an asset that, well, yeah, he can turn 80 hours a week and yeah, this and yeah, that, but his issue with anger and the fact that he destroyed his toolbox with a pry bar and he shows up hungover and he tells you to, where you can put it, and he doesn't do half the inspection because he doesn't feel like it. And I'm sorry, but that doesn't fly. And so really hiring for character, I think, is the number one key. Are they out there? They sure are. In fact, most of them that have good character are still employed.
Yeah, right. For sure.
And that's why we have taken a different approach to this business model. Again, I've helped a number of shop owners navigate this transition from a 5-day shop to a 4-day shop. And that's what we're starting. We've already started. Day one is we're Monday through Thursday. It's Friday. Guess what? I'm not at work. Well, I guess I'm at other work. I'm not at the shop.
You're giving back today.
Is. Yeah, we're giving back. Right? Absolutely. I believe so much in putting family first that I'm losing 1 day of potential revenue. Yeah, you know what? Every shop I've ever seen convert from 5 to 4 does more revenue, more profit, higher efficiency, just better numbers in 4 days than they ever do in 5. And again, it's a leap of faith. And every owner I've ever seen do it is crazy successful right now in 4 days.
So you go out and you find those right employees. You find those employees that are benefits to the culture, that they fit your culture, and that they drive a better customer experience, which drives more revenue to the shop. How do you keep them once you have them? Because you also hear a lot of shop owners say that there's a shortage of technicians, and I think we've all already agreed that there really isn't. There's a shortage of you doing your due diligence to find the right person. But then how do you keep them? Because that's really, really important, right? Keeping employees and keeping them happy and retaining them drives success in your business.
So on the surface, when you look at the employee you want to keep, there's the common sense of you have to take care of them, pay them fairly. And I work with shops across the country, and there's some areas in our country that they're a technician with some ASE certs who can actually do some great work is making $18 an hour. Like, I'm sorry, but I can fast food for more than that. So you've got to pay them correctly. Now, here's the caveat. I can't pay my guys that much because I don't make that much. Then stop undervaluing yourself as a shop and as an owner and charge a fair rate. Well, the shops around me don't charge that much. It's this never-ending doom loop of you simply don't value yourself. You don't charge enough. You don't collect enough profit. You can't afford to pay people correctly. You devalue them, demotivate them. So the antithesis of that, of course, is how we keep that employee. But here's another piece I'll give you guys. You guys okay with this? I'm not boring you, am I?
Oh, absolutely not, man. You keep rolling, Clint. This is awesome.
Did I mention I like to preach?
I think you said you had a background in that just a little bit.
Maybe
just a little bit, yeah. So here's the one killer. The one thing that is it's been a huge aha moment. We talked about that cancerous employee. We in the automotive industry significantly lack, or a more professional way to put it is we suck at accountability. We suck at it. And so I'll give you an example. I fly into a shop, I do a 2-day evaluation and training seminar, and I interview all the employees, technician, bookkeeper, advisors, and get to know people. The second day is a full day of training. And more often than not, there's the new guy. I don't know why, but there's usually the new guy. And so in the interview, I'll say, so you've been here for 3 months. Wonderful. You like it. You love it. Wonderful. You're part of the team. Wonderful. Tell me about the last place you were at. Oh, XYZ Auto down the road. Oh, okay. I know of them. So why did you jump ship? Were they mean to you? Not, no, they didn't hit. Well, that's good. Did they not pay well? No, they paid about the same. Oh, I know. They didn't have benefits. No, everyone's got benefits. Was it maybe the tools weren't updated? No, about the same tools. Well, why? I mean, I'm glad you're here, but why? Every single time, some rendition of this. Well, I'm expected to be there on time. I'm expected to, not break stuff. I'm expected to diagnose correctly. And there's that guy, owner's son, owner's cousin, somebody's friend, that technician comes in when he wants to. He's always hungover, has an excuse. He breaks stuff. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. And I tell you what, I got sick and tired of cleaning up his mess and being told that I had to be at the standard, but he was not. There's no accountability in the shop, and I can't work for that anymore. So, shop owner, if you've got that in your shop, that's your number one priority, is have accountability.
Yeah. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And then A players don't like to be with, B and C players.
No.
It takes the whole morale down. So totally understandable there.
It does.
Now, when you went to recruit for your first shop, talk to us about that a little bit. I mean, you definitely had a leg up going into this. You know a lot of people, a lot of the neighboring shops. Did you start from scratch, or how soon in advance did you build your bench?
So we're starting from scratch. Again, the shop was dead, was not being worked. It was open by appointment for a couple of days a week when they felt like it. And so and then we're still in the process of building the team. So I have, I put on the glove and I said, Avengers Assemble, right? I'm looking for my dream team. I'm looking for people that are family focused. I'm looking for people that have a spirit of humility, because there's one thing to be confident, but there's another thing to be cocky. And I don't hire cocky. I want you to be confident. I don't want you to, hide in the corner like a beaten puppy, but I don't hire cocky. I've worked with cocky and I'm done with cocky. So finding people that are confident in who they are, but they're definitely driven towards a family mindset, a team mindset. I'm not looking for the guy that says, I'm not getting paid for that, I ain't doing it. I'm sorry, I will pay you very, very well, but we have a bigger picture in mind. And so I have to vision cast. Okay. That's maybe the answer you're looking for. We have to cast the vision of what my shop looks like. And my shop is going to be, and already is, different than everybody else in town. And so when we can share that vision, you buy into my vision, that's where you find the right team. You can't just walk into said town, open said shop, and say, we're here to fix cars. And to be honest with you, fixing cars is the last thing we do. We're here to take care of people.
Yeah. And so how staffed up are you? I mean, again, you're less than 30 days in. What percentage of your staff have you hired on? I assume, I'm not sure. Are you completely open, or are you limited opening? I mean, you said you're at 4 days, but I wasn't sure how open.
So yeah, this is the month of June is our soft launch. We'll go and we're technically, yes, we're open Monday through Thursday. All the doors are open. I'm there stem to stern, except for when I'm coaching. We're traveling, and right now our first technician actually starts on Monday. Being an ASC certified master technician with 30 years in the industry, you're also talking to the tech, you're talking to the manager, you're talking to one of the advisors. My wife is another advisor, and my 6-year-old daughter is actually the one running the show. So it's a family business.
I'm sure a very cute mascot for the team. Yeah.
We even have a shop dog. I mean, it's important to have a shop dog. So yeah, it's a family experience.
That's it. All right, listeners. Shop dog better be on the list. What is that line item? Is that line 98?
What number is that?
Yeah.
That was number one with the wife. What are we gonna do with the dog? I'm like, okay, shop dog, done.
Okay. So we've talked to a couple owners that are also a husband and wife team. And that's a little bit of a nuance as well. And she said, so she's an advisor. Is she a coach as well?
So she has been coached for the last almost 6 years, because I have a home office, and she's we don't say stay-at-home wife anymore. We actually have a term that I am the primary breadwinner and she's the primary bread loser. And in being that, you can use that, guys. It's a fun one. She has heard every session. She knows every word. She's actually really, really good. She'll probably never coach anybody, but she literally hit the ground running, having never been in a shop with Thank you for choosing Integrity Auto. This is Jen. How can I help you today? Wonderful. Absolutely, I can do that for you. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Bam, 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 bam. So training works, even though she didn't realize she was being trained.
Okay. So employee number one, shared partnership, where that's awesome. She's kind of got the front of the house, you got the back of the house, and then now you just hired your first technician. So
Yeah,
three
absolutely.
people on the team, doors are open, rocking and rolling. So
Yeah.
what's the bigger vision? What are you looking at? Is it 10 shops, 100 shops?
So as far as shops go, I have an immediate vision here in the next 3 years. We'll have a second location where we're out. Our shop is on the south end of town. In town, quite literally, you can drive across in 10 minutes. It's not that big, guys. But the people who live here will literally not go to the south end of town for years if they don't have to. So a north location and a south location. And I would say, big picture, 5 to 10 years. I would say 3 to 5 shops would be the goal. I've watched a number of individuals go multi-store, and once you put into play the groundworks with the processes and the SOPs and just the understanding on how to make the machine work wonderfully in number one, well, you overstaff that, and then you find number two. And that's what we're looking to do. Is I'm looking to have a crew as far as technicians go. We're going to have 2 A-level techs, and I don't even like to say the word technicians anymore. They're mechanical specialists and technology specialists. I think we need to elevate that mentality. Yeah. So we're looking for those technology specialists out in the shop, and then we're going to have an apprenticing specialist as well. We have an apprentice or growth mindset. We will grow from within. I actually have a ton of those kids right now applying that want to do this. I'm not quite there yet where I have the bandwidth to train them, but very soon we'll bring one on, and he won't be just the guy that empties the trash, because that's me. And I also clean the toilets, because it's important that the owner still does that. But I want them to learn from the ground up, hands-on next to the master, because that's what I did. I had that opportunity to work with somebody who was crazy experienced. It taught me a lot as a young technician, and I want to do the same, give that back.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's
All
important.
your years coaching, I'll give you a 2-part question. All your years coaching, what, if you can narrow it down to one, that'd be hard for you. What is the largest obstacle somebody looking to open up a shop faces today? And then second part is, how are you prepared and how are you going to avoid that obstacle with your new shop?
Greatest obstacle would be 8.5% APR.
Yeah.
And I know that that used to be a great rate back in the the 80s, I guess. Definitely have some operating capital. Make sure that you've got your credit in place. Make sure that you don't walk into it underfunded. Would be number one. There's a lot of financial obligation out of the gate, and to be able to walk into something cash is fantastic. And if not, then being able to finance it at a better rate would be fantastic. So that would be a huge takeaway. And I think a deeper picture would be understand your why. Know your why.
Understand your why.
Yeah. It's I've seen too many guys. I'm a tech and I've worked for this jerk for too long. I'm gonna open my own shop, and he does, and then he fails. Why did you do that? Why did you open that shop? Well, I had to. No, did you have to? Mm-hmm. So understanding why we do this, I think I've shared that vision with you guys. That's my proof of concept. Is there is there a financial side to it? Sure, of course. Is there a legacy side to it? Yeah, absolutely. I want there to be a legacy in place, but it's also where I'm going to become a better coach, because I'll sit here and tell you all day long that I am not the best coach, consultant, and trainer. And there's probably someone out there going, "Hey, man, sorry, didn't work out between us." I'm always learning. I'm not the end all be all, and so that's one of my whys. Is I want to be able to be a better coach for my current clients and clients yet to come, and that's why. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does, but it made me want to ask another one, if that's okay. I'm
here. I'm good. Yeah.
Hypothetically, I want to go up on the shop next month. You said make sure I'm not underfunded. What is Clint? How does Clint coaches William Fairbanks here to know how to not be underfunded? How do I know that? What do I need to do to make sure that I'm not underfunded?
Well, you've got to, I think, flesh out some sort of an operational plan. I think that's a huge undertaking, but it's something you should do. You need to understand what it's going to cost to not only open but to maintain. And your startup costs are something you need to research. Different for every area in the country.
Right.
What I did in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, would probably be 4 to 5 times what I spent in major metropolis on the East Coast. So I can't really throw out a number and say you've got to have
Right.
$500,000 in cash to make this a smooth transition. Probably not a bad idea though. It just depends. That I prefer to own real estate. I don't like to pay someone else's mortgage, and so can you rent a facility? Yeah, you can. You start off renting or leasing, and then maybe look at ownership down the road. Absolutely, that's an option. We see that work from time to time. We also see that fail from time to time. So um, understand what your big picture is and your end game.
But what's your favorite thing to coach? You had a chord with me on the why. And I'm just curious, how big is that within, the different sections and the different areas that you coach in? Like, do you spend a lot of time on that, or is that something that you kind of just make sure that it's there? Sometimes similar to vision, right? Like what's the vision? What's the end all? But maybe talk a little bit more about, the why and how much time you spend on that and why that's so important to you.
It's important because I think at an intrinsic level, it makes us better people. So I have owners that reach out and I need you to help me make more money. I'm not your guy. What? I'm not your guy. You can call XYZ coaching consulting and they'll help you with that. Well, you're not going to help me with money? That's not my why. In fact, this is my intro with most of my clients. You know what my why is? Open your point of sale system right now. Who's the last customer you checked in? Well, it's Nancy Smith. All right, what's she there for? Oil change. What's she driving? 2006 Sentra. Wonderful. Nancy Smith is why I'm here today, not you, not your bank account, not your profit, no, because when we make Nancy Smith our number one priority, and we help her navigate the very complicated and scary world of automotive maintenance and repair, and we place her first and make sure that we're doing the right thing for her and we're absolutely transparent in all we do, and that we charge fairly and profitably, but we don't rip off, we don't sell her things she doesn't need, and we don't sell her, or we don't accidentally not sell her things that she does need. It's about Nancy. And when we have that focal point, that the why is her, everything else falls into place. Do you sell more hours? You bet. Yeah, your gross profit per hour goes up. Are we able to get your margins where they need to be? Yeah, absolutely. Your average written ticket. Yeah, and we can dig into all of your metrics. That's fine. But when you walk into this and say, I want more money, I'm not your guy, and that's okay. So that's what I teach.
Do people understand that parallel between that customer-centric business and their why that you carry? And is that something that people,
yes.
it clicks right away, or is that something that, hey, it takes a little while? Because I think that comes back also to that hospitality mindset and the culture that you're looking to bring to not only your shop, but your coaching programs, is to say, hey, who are you serving?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And to answer your question, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I tell people that I am not the coach for everybody, and all the coaches out there, they're all amazing guys. I've met, I think most of them I know. They're not for everybody, and they'll tell you the same thing. And when it comes to process and procedure and theory and operation, we teach, I don't know, 96.12, 12, 18% repeating the same stuff, right? Yeah. It's process. The difference is going to be, I think, that why, and that focus on being a servant of others. And ultimately, when we know our why and we can drill down on that, what that leaves us with is significance. There's a book that was written, From Success to Significance, great book, and if you guys need to recommend. And it's all fine and good that I've made all the money, and I don't need money right now. I'm good, but I feel unfulfilled. I don't have significance. And so for me, that level of significance that I'm looking to now really move to that like I said, the next level is I want to be the hands and feet of Christ. And I understand this isn't church here, guys, but that's really who I am. Is I want to serve my community. I want to serve others. I want to make sure that the second largest investment that you'll ever make in your entire life is safe, reliable, comfortable, and efficient for as long as you choose to own it. Mm-hmm. That's huge. I'm a car lot prevention program. I don't want you to go buy a new car. If you don't have to, if you want to, that's fine. I just did, by the way. My God, they're expensive. So if we don't have significance, if we don't have purpose, if we don't have drive, if we don't have why, we fail. It's a miserable existence.
So one of the things I find really interesting is the measurement of that, right? So it's not so, I don't know, hypothetical or I think or I believe, how do you make sure that you actually drive significance or you hit on that why? What are some of those, KPIs or those performance indicators that actually shows that, hey, I am making a difference. I am proving the significance. I am customer centric. I am hitting my why. How do you make sure that you're tracking that and then improving it week over week, month over month, and year over year, so you can continue to build on the number of shops and not even just you personally, Clint, but the other individuals that you're out there coaching or people that are inspiring to be a shop owner that are listening to this and probably maybe even leaning forward a little bit and going, oh man, my why for Nancy, I'm trying to keep track of my family and put groceries on the table. How is putting Nancy first? And then how do I measure that to make sure that I'm actually tracking according to it?
So it kind of a complex answer. I don't know that I can really unpack the entire thing with you, but some of the metrics within the CSI index or the customer service index, we can track that. Reviews. Are you capturing and garnering 5-star reviews? Are you getting one review a day? Well, that seems excessive, but are you grabbing one review a day? How about your customer attrition? How many are you losing and how many new are you gaining? How many are you keeping? You need to understand those numbers and make sure that you're not, having what we call the old one and done. That's not healthy. That right there means that if you're one and done, you're not doing this right. They came in, they experienced, they said no thanks, and they never come back. We have a customer follow-up process that we teach that is, I think it is, I'm not going to say bulletproof. That's cocky. I don't want to be that way, but it works very, very well. And it actually integrates very well with many of the CRM programs that are out there. And a lot of it just starts with verbiage. I'll share this with you. Giving you guys a lot today. I should send you a bill. I probably should, but no, I won't. So when you call your customer back at 3 days, oh, we don't do that. We text. Oh, I'm sorry. That's impersonal. Why didn't you go ahead and call those who actually would like to have a call? Now, how would you know that? Well, you need to know their desired method of contact or preferred method of contact. Well, how would I know that? Well, you've interviewed them and built a relationship and rapport with them at the counter. So here we are at that call back at 3 days, and it sounds like this: ring, ring, hello. Hey, good afternoon. This is Clint at Integrity Auto Service. How you doing? Fine. Everything okay? Yeah, absolutely. Nancy, I'm actually just calling to check in on your Sentra, making sure the check engine light's still off and running great. Oh, yeah, it's running great, she says. Nancy, I really appreciate the opportunity to have worked on your vehicle here. One last question, I'll let you go. Is there anything that I could have personally done to have made your experience at my shop any better? Own it.
Yeah.
Yep. I've asked that question no less than 25,000 times over the years. And I have garnered so much feedback. Some of it huge, like, yeah, you guys were great, but I was there at 3 o'clock and I really wanted a cup of coffee, but all you had was caffeinated. Could you put some decaf in? Like, I almost ruined an opportunity because I didn't have decaf.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of that little stuff, but again, that's part of tracking that metric, is the feedback and then documenting that feedback, and then of course applying that to your shop.
Yeah, I think it's critical. I mean, I think it's critical to know that North Star. I think it's critical to understand, like, hey, am I winning according to my why? And how do I prove that not only to myself, but like on paper? So I know like where I'm at and giving myself a grade and moving myself forward. So thank you for sharing
Here's
that.
another one. Here's another one that I'll share with you guys is, and it's a metric. It's your AWRO, your average written RO. And this is something that it's one of the key metrics that I look at when I come into a shop. If your average written, not sold, but written RO is under $1,000, you have a terrible inspection process, and you probably have a terrible inspection process, and you might also have a bad inspection process too. So there are three options there. When we only partially inspect a vehicle and write up only, say, 1/3 of what the car needs, is that doing the right thing for the customer? Is that helping them do life, helping them make decisions? Because what happens is they say yes to some of it and they drive away and it breaks again. They come back, and then the wash, rinse, repeat, they come back. And now they have this mentality. It's the nickel and dime mentality. Right. Every time I come in, it's because you don't tell them the whole truth and nothing but the truth the first time, because you're scared, because you don't value yourself. So the AWRO, if it's $2,500 or above, I truly believe you're doing right by your people. So that's another metric.
I like that. I like that metric. And that metric also stops the "ever since you worked on my car, this happened" conversation that we hear shop owners having all the time and complaining about it all the time. Right.
Yeah. And that is solved. That's an easy solve. It's one of the things I do specialize in. It's the I don't know, the frosting on my cake as far as a consultant or coach goes, is I can teach you to do a vehicle inspection that'll make your mama blush. My vehicle inspection is everything. I don't do we don't check the differential fluid because it's not due for 50,000 miles. I don't play that game. In fact, I tell people I've read hundreds of books, lots of quotes I know. There's only one quote that I have that's mine. So you got to put my name after this, okay? Copywritten. If it can be known, it will be known. And if it's known, it will be shown. In my shop, if it can be known, well, can you know what the cylinder walls look like? I mean, well, if you want to go that deep, but no, within the bounds of a no wrench or a non-invasive inspection, can it be known? Then it's shown. And what that does is affords transparency in the customer experience and transparency within the shop environment.
Love that. You said you take the pictures on a digital vehicle inspection. Do you go as far as doing the videos right now as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the rule of thumb is anything noisy or anything loose gets a video, period, the end. We also do a full walk around of the vehicle during our exterior lighting. So instead of 18 pictures of lights that are on, I think, in the picture, we take a video of the front. We have a procedure, and then we do this light and that light, and then they go to the back, and we do those lights in the back, and then we zoom into the license plate or tag lights, and that's all documented via video. And everything that is knowable is imaged. So the brand new tires that they just bought last week, we take pictures of every single one. Well, why would you do that? They're fine, because we're showing them how good their car is, showing them proof of their investment.
Yeah, that's critical. It's about putting the customer first, right?
It is. Yeah.
It's understanding what Nancy would expect coming into the shop for the first time, and then how do we exceed those expectations? I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to take you way back again, and you're back in the 90s and you're working at that first shop, and then fast forward, you got into coaching, and then you opened a new shop. If you had to go back to talk to Clint in the 1990s, what would you go tell yourself, knowing that, hey, at some point in time you're going to own a shop, at some point in time you're going to be a coach. So how do you better prepare yourself for the future ahead?
I don't know. I feel pretty prepared. I would say, if anything, if I could talk to myself 30 years ago and say, hey, moron, wear your back brace. Yeah. And just say no to big tires, because that has not been kind to me.
That's fair.
Say no to big tires. I like it.
Wasn't sure if you would want to do some of these things sooner, go open that first shop sooner, get into the coaching sooner, avoid the dealership.
Every experience we have in life, and this is something that I use when I counsel as well as when I coach, is life is like soup. Okay. Y'all like, oh, we lost somebody there. Huh? William's there.
Oh.
So I'll give you
we'll
this.
edit him back in.
We'll put him back in. Here we go. Life is like soup. You guys like soup?
Yeah.
Yeah, most people do. William has given me the maybe not. Your mama probably made you eat soup.
Yeah, I love soup.
Yeah, okay. I like soup. Now, whatever variety of flavor you like, it doesn't matter. Within that soup, there are particular ingredients that on their own are horrific, if not caustic or dangerous. Like, go ahead and have a big old spoonful of salt. Nope. How about a big bite of parsley? Just the whole thing. Nope, that's not great. That's negative. That's nasty. That's horrible. It's painful. If you've ever done the salt thing, I've done that. It's actually painful. It's terrible. On their own, they're horrible, but they're a part of your soup. And the soup without salt, it lacks so much. So my life, your life, everything you've been through in life, whether it's just mundane or whether you've been through tragedy, whether you've been through horrible experiences or great experiences, is part of the ingredients in your soup of life. And so could I look back and say, yeah, I probably would have done without the dealership experience? I mean, you know what? No, I think I'm okay with that because it's made me who I am. See, now I know what not to be for my clients because I've spent time there and I can tell you it wasn't great. So be okay with the ingredients in your soup. I would say if you're driven or motivated or you're passionate about opening a shop, and uh, don't wait necessarily, but make sure your ducks are in a row. Don't jump into it without having done your research and maybe linking up with somebody who can partner with you and mentor you.
I think that's awesome. Maybe give yourself a plug, Clint. I think everybody's listening realizes how much of an asset you could be to their team. But go ahead and give me your plug.
My plug. So my business name is Coaching with Integrity, and I can be reached at coachclintwhite@gmail.com. And if you need to reach out via phone, you can give me a call at 208-656-3838. And I would love to give you some wisdom and guidance, or maybe just sit and chew the fat and tell really bad dad jokes.
All right, man. Well, yeah, awesome, Clint. I really enjoyed today. Really, really, really good insight. You know, on behalf of myself, William Fairbanks, and our CEO at Shopking Trailer, Mike Kaverick, we really, really appreciate you coming on. And want to just tell everybody on behalf of Clint, I understand your why.
Understand your why.
Love that. Maybe go. Have you read Simon Sinek?
A lot of them, yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yep.
It's like probably some good homework for anybody to kind of realize what they'd be getting themselves into working with Clint. So go pay attention to that. I think that's a big deal. So this has been awesome.